Well, folks, how y'all doing today? Oh, yes, another day. Just another day in paradise. Okay, you probably know I'm lying, but as you all well know, again, never a popularity contest, and we surely, I'm not saying give me your vote. Just assume power. Who cares if the plebs vote? These people are stupid. Since what we have sum total here is a prison yard lockdown, okay? Even the spacing, the 6 feet, is the exact they want. On space, yard on lock. Bang! That's right. When you stand out in front of your cells in the morning, how far are you apart? Just about that far. And so on, do you know what I mean? Think that shit through and you'll know what I'm saying. And you've been to, closed custody confinement, hard knock school, whatever you like to call it, You know I'm telling the truth, you see. I'm going to read in a second, so that's why I'll need this. But for right now, a little exposition on the... I'll read it. You'll see it. What I'm saying is not pie in the sky. It's what the media's saying, at least. I'm not put my own interpretation on it because, well, again, these people play a sort of game theory. You have to assume that they're going to betray. Thus, you always have to try to read the tea leaves from the backwards in the mirror with them. I don't do it that way. I don't know. And the media is so bizarre that, well, for instance, we'll take one that everybody knows about. The people who ate fish cleaner. President Trump said, point blank, there are generic drugs with the name, he said the two names, the chloroquines, which basically are quinines. They're for malaria, Now, these dumb hillbillies, and whether they live in the city or were leftists, or they're stupid hillbillies. They're dumber than my ancestors. My ancestors would have said, now hold on, these aren't spelt the same, Cletus. Maybe we should look and see if this one's different. That's what they'd have done, because they just didn't eat random shit like idiots. That's why they survived out in nature, Are you insane, But this is whole other level of disingenuous, because, he never said just go to the pet store and get some random shit and just take it casually and that'll cure you. I don't recall any voodoo witch doctor shit like that. I recall him saying, clearly, that there were medical drugs, which were in a generic form, these were generic names he's saying right here, that there were some trials that showed they had potential, and there have been more trials that showed they have it. It's pretty much just can't be the placebo effect. So that means if you're critically bad, there's some chance they'll stop it before it utterly wastes your lungs away. Okay. All right. Some chance, no chance. And these ventilators aren't, for all the hype, that's a stopgap. At most, you're going to wind up with wards of people that never breathe, that never move again. They're just zombies. They're flesh. They're biological donors, in effect. I say, it's better to be dead than that. I've been unlife, chemically unlife, where my mind was basically not functional. You never make me like that again. I'm like that Quint guy on Jaws. Never going to the heart of the life jacket again, That's right. That's correct. It's better than just bobbing around waiting to be eaten like these people want to be, Because I watched that the other night, USS Baltimore. He's talking about that, where it went down and all the sharks ate all those dudes. That's what this is like. Except for, unlike when they were fighting in groups and trying to pack up, they want you atomized in this. One of the themes I've often put in here, and people think I'm a conspiracy theorist and all this, is the man against the state, the one man naked against Leviathan, humps, but actually taken as what they want. People think, it can't be that way, because all this communications and this and that. But what good does that do you when it's only through a thing like this? You're not actually communicating. You don't even know that I'm here. A computer, if it wanted to, could symblicate me. Maybe. I don't know if it could actually... I'm a little hard to predict, but you know what I mean? It could probably give you what you wanted to see of me. Did you see how this works? So how do you actually know? And this is the key thing now. The other day, and I should have got that news article, they changed it up. But in USA Today, for all day, speaking can cause coronavirus, you understand? Talking to each other. The one thing that these behavioral materialist scientists think differentiates us from animals fully is speech. Can't have that, because if we speak to each other, we'll make each other sixies. Ideas will spread, you see. White nationalism might spread. Meaning ideas like, why the fuck should we care if you bastards in this city die by the millions? Why should we be locked down out here? Fuck you. And you know what I'm saying? Now there's an idea for you. Because I don't care. You multiculturalist scum created this fucking mess with your open borders and your insistence on not having border and entry security. You insisted on it because we had to have all the cheap junksies. Well, now you got the cheap junk. Okay? But they don't want to have it that way. They want to blame you. So what I reckon is this. Okay. there's a few different possibilities here. One is that they're just outright using an excuse to impose a pre-contrived end. And I mean, as in, this is a little more deadly than regular flu, a little more deadly than the cold, a bit more deadly than lung cancer, but there's still 161,284 deaths, that was the CDC's numbers, from upper respiratory failures last year. Now, if you die of upper respiratory failure and have this disease in your blood, it does not mean necessarily you died of it. And since, from what I get, all of the diseases of this kind create this cystoplasm, that they're looking for these in your blood, if they're not actually testing down to the real level, they're just saying, oh, it's just that generic category of drugs, or chemical really, but you get the idea. You're not being as precise as they're trying to make it to you. Do you understand? And they know that they're kind of whitewashing and not being scientifically as accurate as they could. Now, is that purposeful? Is that a nature of distress? Who knows? I'm sure for the mortician, there's a lot of press they need, because 80 bodies in the world at one time is right. And then, of course, since he has to treat all of them like they died of infectious disease, if he doesn't know, okay, fine, I'm cool with that, right? I mean the policymakers, the media, the movers and shakers, and all these celebrities that are, be afraid! Be super afraid! No, don't. Find Christ and go to peace. Be unafraid of death. Overcome that. How about that? That's easy, isn't it? You see, convict's smart enough to tell you this. Just, don't be a fucking moron. Go to the second life, Seriously. It's better to die a man fucking live a minute than to live like a fucking rat and live a decade. And that's a fact. Okay? So, it's gotten to a point where we're at. Of course, I will read some news here in a minute. If this is going to be one of my last, I could die. Who knows, right? I may as well at least go out with a bang. And we'll go a few, because I got some wingdings on. When, the chosen special peoples. And during this crisis of theirs, they have to be the number one most important thing because, I don't know. Can you imagine this? Can you possibly just put your head around this? It's kind of bizarre, They're very self-centered this way. Oh, I just flipped the camera angle. It's kind of strange. Never done that, so I don't know how I did that. But, oh dang, what did I do with this? Oh, right here. Right, 5 key facts not explained in the virus projections. Because, now it's COVID-19, then it's COVID-2, then so what they're trying to do is they're trying to make, for when you look for one search term, they can box it in on the search engines. And it's kind of strange. I've never seen myself looking backwards. It should be interesting. There we go with a real bang. Anyhow, what they're basically trying to do is say, because this term changed, this is different than that. Even though 2 is 2 sets is 2 sets. Do you understand? And they know they're lying. So it's like, stop. And if they don't know they're lying, their grasp of logic is lower than mine, and I just refuse to believe that. It's like, you're a scientist, but you have less grasp on the empirical method and such. Yeah, okay, you're lying. So there's 5 key facts. Basically, they come down to you're going to have to stay locked up forever because we weren't locked up like prison punks and because we weren't celled in like these prisoners are now. So President Trump and his top scientific advisors on the coronavirus task force gave a much anticipated presentation Tuesday night. Anticipated. Why I'm not. Their presentations don't mean shit to me. You understand? It's like, if you're going to die, you're going to die. Get the fuck with it, pussy. Now, laying out the data behind the president's recent shift in tone regarding the outbreak. His tone shifted. Fucking retarded bitch think. Including his decision to extend national social distancing guidelines, i.e. national lockdown, through April 30th. It is a prison lockdown. It's yard lockdown on anything but at the name. That's exactly what it is. And they won't shoot you if you violate the lockdown just yet. Specifically, officials pointed to a computer model, only as good as the data, and since the data is going to be flawed according to all of the honest experts, they have no actual baseline numbers. This gets choice. Listen to this now. Released weeks earlier by Imperial College London. Those same social conditioners that want to ensure that nothing changes and that you unwashed, dirty, despicable plebs, the ones what are known as the deplorables, like Clinton, but they're generally just known as chavs in Great Britain, and diggers is one of them for Australians. I don't know what they call New Zealand for, and you got the idea. You people. Yeah, they don't like you, and they want you kept low. And this is just the way. Keep them afraid, and they'll be grateful for the Savior. A Savior will come, fade the Savior. Shit. Horse shit. At that time, predicted if no action were taken to slow the spread of the virus, about 2.2 million people in the United States would die over the course of the outbreak. Good. That'd be a good, healthy number of old geezers to get out of the blood system. We could save trillions of dollars over the next decade. Great. And put the money into something useful other than keeping living corpses alive. Then administration officials described separate modeling that predicts that by imposing strict social distancing measurings, aka lockdown, the toll from the current wave notice of infections can be reduced to somewhere between 100,000 and 240. It's like BFD. Again, we don't give a shit if you administrative bitches in your tight fucking centers where you have all the population from the entire world stacked upon each other and you brought in the Chinese. Oh, come in, world! Well, you get their diseases and their failings too. Scumbag. We don't care if you die. And we certainly aren't going to impose a lockdown on ourselves forever. And then again, if we're going to die, I'd rather die a free man outside doing what I want to do, talking to my neighbors, rather than being told, don't talk to anybody, stay in your house, just, what is this? Toten house, literal, death house, like die in your house? Shit. This is nonsense. Either if the disease isn't as bad as it is and they're using it as a fright, or if it is as bad as it is, there ain't nothing they can do to save you anyway. Only God is going to be your ally now. Although officials implied that this estimate was because their system can only handle the mall disease, and the rest of it, they can only contain certain areas, the rest of you be left on your own. That's it. I mean, it's not a matter of want or wish, it's that they don't have the resources. You know, do you understand how wasteful this kind of thing is? Keeping these geezers alive like this. Keep healthy people alive, and you let 89-year-old bags of skin die. Yeah, that's what you do. This is why the old men stayed in Athens, and the rest of them went to fight. When the Persians sacked Athens, you cunts. Now, although officials implied that this estimate was based on the administration's own in-house modeling, no, he didn't. He just said that there's models that have been presented to me. He didn't even. This is Soviet levels of lying, you know. And then all of a sudden they're telling the truth about how far we should stay apart for how long and this and that. When we all know that they've lied to us to our face, everything from Benghazi, there's this one. I remember the SNL scandal. Let me see. All that weapon smuggling that's just so many ways muddy. Nobody even knows the real truth anymore. Let me see. All the, Fast and Furious. I mean, we can go on forever about times the government and the media have lied to people. Couldn't we? I mean, I can go back easily to World War II, so I don't really have to play party games here, you know? I mean, so it ain't about Trump. I mean, he might be an honest actor, but you can't do nothing when you're surrounded by a ship of traitors, Judases, and fools, now can you? Now, so anyway, they did not provide further details about those calculations. Oh, you mean really? The president didn't sit down and give a fully mathematical, detailed model of how you do this, given that he's... that's right. He's a building builder, not a mathematician. You see, I mean, this is crazy where they expect a president to be a platonic ruler that knows all things. No. What they expect is for the president to say fucking platitudes. We didn't plan for contingencies efficiently. This is retarded nonsense. You can't plan for the kind of plague that they're scared of right now. You can't. Any talk about it's a lie. A vile lie for weak people. Okay. No. Instead, officials discussed a model from an outside group. What is that even? You know, this is big. This is Mean Girls do news and government. You know that, right? The University of Washington's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, otherwise known as those communist fuckers over in leftist-occupied land over there, which introduced projections very similar to the administration's findings. Lo and behold. According to Dr. Deborah Birx, coordinator of the Karina Task Force. Oh, Deborah with a K. She's Ashkenazi. Let's see. NPR, which, as you know, is these guys here are the most trustable people in the world. No, they'll tell you. They don't lie, you know? NPR contacted two researchers. Well, don't name them, but two researchers. That's good. I like that. Who helped put together the model. And, of course, they're not partisan to that model because it's not their name on it or anything. We learned of some assumptions made by the model that administration officials did not mention. Oh, some assumptions. Well, that's nice. Here's what those assumptions are and why they matter. The president's guidelines are not what makes the difference. Well, so what they're trying to say is the president, no matter what he does, is a chump. Fuck him. See, orange man bad. You know what? Always. Anything to set this guy aside. This is Soviet. And this is, if we were doing this to a third world dictator, it would be black ops to set him up for the fall. The IHME's modelers say that they did not take into account the impact of the president's social distancing guidelines, first unveiled on March 16th as a 15-day plan, now extending through April 30th. That's because the president's recommendations are not binding. In other words, you're not celled in. You can't be shot and arrested, so it doesn't matter. And in states where governors haven't imposed strict social distancing rules of their own, it's not clear to what extent people are following the White House call to stay home as much as possible. Ooh. And now listen to this bullshit. The recent throng of vacationers on Florida's beaches certainly suggest... So in other words, some people, probably from the deep state itself, apparatus in Florida, went to the beach, got the media there, and the rest of you got to sell up for another however long, because beaches in Florida and shit. Think that through. No, they're fucking lying to you. This is a power grab. No, anyway, so there's just, the president's being ignored because of that. It's like, or not, because I see pretty much there's absolutely no traffic during the day around here, and very few people down at these stores during the day. There's the longest line I've seen, 3 people, you know, so, okay? You understand? On the other hand, panic buying has chilled down, so there is that. Okay, so, I mean, it's not clear what extent people are following the White House stay at home as much as possible, blah, blah, blah. Even if there's a national order, we have to follow what the state is doing. Ooh, so even if the president gave an order, it wouldn't matter, because, you understand? Do you see how flawed that kind of modeling is? So, even the model they're using for the numbers is orange man bad and mean girl shit. You can't be right, because, okay, oh my god. I mean, I just go back to being 12. Says Ali Mokad. Ooh, I mean, if anything, I'm going to trust the pull the pin kind of guy. Give me a hug and Allah Akbar. A professor of health metric sciences at IHME. An infiltrator, yeah. People will follow the rules of their own state. No, they'll follow the rules as they are applied, but pretty much these people are. I mean, again, Inslee didn't make the difference because 3 days before Inslee babbled his mouth, people were doing just this, exactly like it's been the same basic amount of traffic. I'm on one of the main cut between roads, between the housing and their, you know, you might call it infrastructure needs. Very little travel. Very little travel. And I mean, I'm saying I count every one, but I'm saying I noticed the other day I don't hear the, you know, the car sound. It's actually kind of relaxing not having it there. But anyhow, let's see. State action is what matters. They're trying to say locking you up is what matters. 1 second, fellas. Let me get this way. Oh. Hey, Johnny, what's up? Hello? Oh, not much. Just doing a little coronavirus update thing. Yeah, it is good. Let me call you back. I mean, I can read you, but you know, you probably don't want me doing that. So, you know. I'll call you back probably, give me a half hour or so, all right? All right, man. Okay, so IHME's model forecasts the outcome for each state by taking into account not just which measures state officials have imposed. No, not just that. But also the date on which officials imposed the measures and how much transmission was already underway by that point. So did somebody die? And then you all need to be locked up forever. Imagine this womanly shit. How much okay, so this, as measured by the number of COVID-19 patients, or deaths, excuse me. The model also considers how strict the measures are. Will you be shot in the head like Joe Stalin style? Because, you know, I mean, our media seems to favor the Chinese style, so should the police run around and be shooting people? Because you can find that still in the darknet, and it looks pretty fucking realistically. Those are Chinese security police running around dosing people. I don't know what to say. Why and how? Can't say. No context, but you know what I mean? And then there's some other horror show shit from there that's... It could be faked, but the riot one with the Chinese police throwing stuff at the other side, which are obviously the security police inside some kind of perimeter, Fuck. That's hard to fake, kids. That's hard to fake. The Chinese police don't riot. Chinese urban people don't riot because even the, I know it's hard for you to understand, but even the lowest horrible worker in the city has it multitudes better than people in the countryside. And that's just reality. In almost all cases, you know. They get better medical care, better education, better opportunities to do it and go anywhere in life. You understand? That's just reality. And if you work at one of those like state private factories, again, you just, you know, now they keep you under control this way, sure, but this is why they don't riot very much. Most riots you hear about are agricultural riots and payment riots, like, you know, companies don't pay or there's an accident and people go insane, you know, this kind of stuff. Not urban political riots. And that's what I mean, it's just insane. So, I don't know. What I think is in China, they had a weapon escape. It's like all bioweapons, they go to a certain point, then they fall off, they mutate. And this is the residuals of it they're using as a power grab here. That's my deep sense, but I don't have any great evidence to point to that other than some anecdotal, you know. I mean, the Chinese locked down 10 million people casually, but they let 5 million slip the net. Think about that. That's insane. That's crazy. So at any rate, the model also considers how strict they were, and with the greatest weight given to states that imposed all three of the following options, meaning the states on the coast, the blue states. They're trying to, this model literally makes it so that the blue states, which are more authoritarian in nature, will simply have better outcomes than the rest of us, which is weird because that's where people are dying, in my state, California, and New York. But the people here are from cheap-ass labor and faulty practices at these death houses, which, you know, you can't keep a living corpse alive for very long in this situation. You're insane, you know? And you're trying to blame that on anything other than, well, a disease that was allowed to slip from the Chinese and brought here due to PC is crazy. But they're going to try to find some person responsible for it. Orange man bad, you take the rap, you know. Let's see, strictest measures, excuse me. You know, if I just put on my glasses, it makes it so much easier, doesn't it? Yeah, right? Closing educational facilities, which, you know, oddly I take as a plus. Because when NPR, which I did have an article about this the other day, are freaked out that kids aren't in the classroom, because then they might think things like, you know, bullfinches or chemistry, you know, 10 interesting experiments in chemistry or something where they can actually learn something of value. And you can't have that. You gotta stuff their head full of bullshit about diversity, equality, and tolerance, because my freedom and shit. Yeah. Closing non-essential businesses, meaning your business, dude. And issuing stay-at-home orders, which unless you happen to do work from home, but I mean, you know, like in my case, I got an acre to go out and work on, but how long till I can't do that? Because how long till I'll be digging in some potatoes, for instance, which, that's right, I don't have my greenhouses no more, so I gotta wait a couple weeks, you know, otherwise there'll be late frost and I'll be miffed, you know. I can go out and put some potted stuff in them. I got them square, like nursery things, just have square racks, and I got the 25 plants, tons of them, you know, so. I got, we'll call if those are collard seeds or if they were broccoli, but it doesn't matter. They grow basically the same, and once they do come out, you know, the spacing's a little different, but it doesn't matter. Let's say, and then stay at home. So the model is then adjusted based on what proportion of a state's residents those rules have been applied to. For instance, are the measures limited to certain cities or counties? So you mean. It only makes sense in New York because New York City was locked down. But that, what? Or are there statewide rules? Meaning, are we all on prison lockdown, just exactly like convicts? This is what they want. They want you locked down just like a 14-day lockdown in prison, man. You know what I'm trying to say? Governors who haven't issued statewide social distancing rules will do so in a week. Oh, they will do so. They will do so. Who the fuck are you to give orders from on high, cocksuckers? Fuck, I mean, do you understand the arrogant nature of this power grab based upon fear? Fear is death. Fear itself is dying inside. I've had enough of that for a lifetime, thank you. A number of governors haven't issued any of the strict social distancing rules the model takes into account. Other governors have issued such rules for select areas of their state only. Well, this could be because there aren't any cases in their motherfucking area! Wow, dude! I mean, oh, no shit, dude! So there's like, no, there's something Alaska does. How the fuck does that affect a quarantine in the lower 48? Are you insane? This is fucking crazy, do you understand? It's like, So Hawaii has something going on, and that affects how the transmission of a disease across the ocean. Oh, that's because they're not telling you. You can't travel right now, but they, jet set class are, the 10% to run the operation still are. The Soviet administrative apparatchiks always do, while the peasants get travel permits. The IHME's model assumes that 7 days from now, all states that haven't done so will impose the full range of social distancing rules statewide. And how about we assume that you get stuffed up your backside since this shit's garbage, man? You fucking few thousand geezers that die don't even exceed the average numbers of death for the kind of cause of death. Fuck off. This is mostly hysteria. I'm starting to believe that it's largely just that. A black ops hysteria that may have been based on a real thing, but they've taken and fucking wagged the dog, and now they mean to take the full run. Because they got caught with the FISA court deal. Because they got caught bringing in private information that they got from tabloid-level sources that in fact come from their own ex-agents, ex-assets. Holy Jesus. That is inbred. And that's why they got to do this. Because they can't have the potential of trials. Imagine how dirty it would be if we actually started going through all these FISA warrant applications. Let's just let you know. Let's be honest. If we know about this one, why wouldn't there be others? And we know about this one department head who's corrupt, and this one guy that was a definite ass with Jagoff. And the other dude across over in Britain that they used as some kind of inbred, impartial source, though Jesus. Alphabet soup. They want to prevent their being made into alphabet soup, and this is the perfect way to do it, to keep you from talking, to keep you locked up, you know. So all states that haven't done so well, that's neat. Again, the number of deaths, 5,000, is minimal. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. Just like on 9/11, I laughed. 5,000 whole deaths, big deal. I don't give a shit if 5,000 people in New York City died. Ain't no reason for you to be running up into my fucking library records. And you understand how that works? It also assumes the states will keep the social distancing in place through June 1st. So don't never fear, citizens. You only got to do 2 months locked up like a convict. While the jet set move around freely as they need to, where they need to, how they need to. Oh, and by the way, everybody who needs to be out at these stores can go, which are going to be the most obvious point of contact for this fucking disease. But that's not a problem. So just ignore that logic. Did you just get that? It's asinine and backwards. Now listen carefully. By contrast, President Trump's guidelines only apply through April 30th. Damn. The President indicated that he may extend the date of the situation. I don't give a fuck what he does. You will need to put me in a fucking concentration camp after this month if you think that I'm sitting inside fucking off another month so you people can play dick around. You either can contain the situation or you're lying. Make up your mind. You got till the end of this month. That's it. At the briefing Tuesday, officials did not specify how long their modeling assumed social distancing would remain in place. Well, that's nice. Chris Murray, the director of this modeling, says the team is working on a projection for exactly what sort of rebound we will see. That means when it comes back, the evil monster, you're going to have to hide in the closet again. Fuck you. I won't be afraid, Chris. Go suck a dick, you pussy. If social distancing were to be erased after April 30th instead of June 1st, but he says there's no question it'd be significant because if even one... Fuck off. Again, kids, 1,752 people die every day in the United States anyway. And half of those are from issues that are basically your lungs collapsing, dying, giving out on you. Gonna be kind of, they could opportunize on that, I think, couldn't you? Do you think you could fudge the figures a little? And because every day has variations, and scare a bunch of people with not false but not really true statistics? I know I could. So quit being idiots. If you die, you die. Till then, you're living. Live like a man while you're alive. If and when the current wave of infections is suppressed, the U.S. will remain vulnerable. We're going to have to hide in the closet. Hide in the closet like little kids forever, kids. Daddy will save you. Daddy will keep the monster from coming at night. Technically, this is not an assumption in the model, but it's a prediction which they want you to believe is in fact implied in the model, though it isn't. Notwithstanding a large number of people who will get sick and even die, over the roughly 3 months the model projects it will take to snuff the current wave of infection. So, 90-day lockdown for all of you. I used to get that for knocking a guy out, right? And I mean, okay, I probably had that coming 90 days in jail for knocking a guy out. But what's the deep state get for their part in keeping their eye off the Chinese and this disease and trying to focus on dropping the president? Well, because while this was cooking up in China was the exact time they were cooking up their impeachment fiasco and had it at fever pitch. Everything was focused on impeachment, you remember? At the exact time this was cooking up in China. And exactly after it happened, everything was focused on how the Senate was corrupt. Remember that? Not on Chinese diseases. Though, the Intelligence Committee was given a heads up right around Christmas. So Shifty Shift and Penguin fucking Nadler and Queen Witch Dago Pelosi sat on that shit and now want to blame Orange Man Bad because obviously it's his job to know every motherfucking thing in the universe all the time, instantly. Because he is God and Lord Creator of all things, right? Krishna and shit, huh? Just utterly silly, isn't it? It's like, what is he, some kind of Cambodian god king? It is utterly silly, do you see? And then it comes the other one, too. Because of this, you have to trust all these experts. Why? They have agendas like anyone else. Now, let's see. It will take, so the vast majority of Americans will not contract the virus. This means they will not have immunity against future waves of infection. Tough shit. Which could be sparked by cases in the U.S. that have remained undetected, meaning we all have to get tested. Oh, and they'll keep that's going to be excuse until you're all tested, little plebs. It has to be controlled movement, but we can't test you all because just the means aren't there. What do you mean 6 months locked up? You mean you'll be locked up and kept down and eventually your bank accounts will be frozen and all that stuff? Exactly while the economy's melting down and all the big money went to the other guys? Shit. You mean Nancy's playing a game with that commission she's opening and all that, where she's just looking to be Orange Man Bad and ensure that you don't get the $1 billion like Joe Biden did, you know? Well, son of a bitch, that's what she's doing, right? Go look at that up. That's Joe Biden's own words. I'll be at the golf course until 6. And son of a bitch, they fired the guy. That's that whole Ukrainian affair in Joe's party. Joe's a corrupt son of a bitch. He knows it and I know it. Now these people are supporting their hand in glove with Joe, you know. So let's be honest. This means they will not have immunity against future waves. Big deal. So basically, it's like this. Be afraid of everyone and everything. Don't talk to anyone. Don't be a human. Be easily separated and yanked out of the population exactly like the Soviets had people when they come down with the Cheka. Go read the part in Solzhenitsyn. They talk about rolling in with the black cars and snagging people. This is what they want here. I kid you not. I know power grab when I see it because I'm a wolf. I ain't a silly little sheep, you know. I don't think in terms of liberty. I think in terms of power. And I tell you right now, this is all meant to make you afraid. Be afraid of everyone else. Go to Big Daddy government and let them save you. Just fade the savior. This is nonsense. Our rough guess is that come June, at least 95% of the population will still be susceptible. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. This means, of course, they can come right back, unless Daddy's there with the shield and sword of government, and he'd give him all power and all the money, and you just let these technicians run your life like you are a little punk in a prison cell. So then we really need to have a robust strategy. Read maximum lockdown, in place to not have a second wave. Read maximum lockdown. Now, this is only but one that we're going to get to today. I got a few of these. These they can't all be slips, so I'm going to catch up today. If you can't hang, hey, say la vie. I understand. But they do kind of run, and you'll see. As I tell you, all biological or serious medical outbreaks of any kind, there's going to be shortages. You can't, there's no society it's ever been possible to do it in. So, they could say, like, we could, we might, we ought to, how much money do you want to divert into it? I guess, Basically, what I'm trying to say to you is, are you willing to, give up everything you own? This means everything, you rich fucks. No? Then I don't see why the poor people should cough up everything they own. See how that works? Well, because super rich people don't actually pay much tax. Yeah. It's the middle two castes that do, but, Well, more affluent parts of Nashville County, and this is now listen to this. Are you ready? Listen to this. This is NPR. NPR is... They just don't stop with the givings. The coronavirus don't discriminate, but U.S. healthcare is showing those familiar biases. Fuck me running. Okay, so while more affluent parts of Nashville have had testing sites for weeks. What? Maybe. Have they? Does anybody actually know that to be the case? As of, let me see if I got the date here. As of April 2nd, do you know if they were there on March 14th or not? Does anybody? I'd like to know if anybody in Nashville could get me that info. Because I think these people are full of shit. Because darkies and others lie when they can because the media will enable them. And if you call them a liar, they'll call you a racist and a Nazi. That's why. This drive-through testing site at Meharry Medical College, read some fucking Motown nonsense, in a historically African-American neighborhood. Can I have a historically white neighborhood, please? Experienced weeks of delays because staff couldn't acquire the needed testing supplies, read, were inept. And gear, like masks and gloves, read, didn't have any intelligent means to procure. Right. It finally opened March 30th. Okay, and when were the first cases actually detected there? Does anybody know this information? I didn't bother to check because I just assumed it's based on hysteria. I always do. Racial nonsense, I assume, Negroes is having hysteria moment and the media is facilitating him. Openly. I don't give a shit about the darkies, not one way or another. I won't give a fuck about their nonsense. The new coronavirus don't discriminate. That's actually interesting. Maybe it does. It could be possible to bioweapon. I'm hoping it's biologically selective for different phenotypes. It says, nope, this ain't the genetics I'm looking for. But physicians in public health and on the front lines say that in response to the pandemic, they can already see the emergence of, get this shit, familiar patterns of racial and economic bias. Man, life be horror when you be a poor ghetto Nixter gangster. Nibba. It's like, seriously. Do they really think that the government is going to come down to each and every one of their little slave cabins and pat their fucking hand? Seriously. In one analysis, I mean, this is how dependent of culture we have, you know. And this is exactly this media's angle. They're writing to just this kind of bullshit. Now, and I don't care what you say, almost all the other media, but Fox, panders to basically whatever NPR has, flagship of the fleet, you know. In one analysis, it appears doctors may be less likely to refer African Americans for testing when they show up for care with signs of infection. You mean with a cough and a random fever, the kind they have all the time, and don't show any other sign of it, like a virological infection? Well, no shit. I wonder what the missing component is here. It must be racism. This is how dumb niggers are. The biotech data from firm Rubik's Life Sciences. Rubin's law firm. Oh, yes, the tribe of Reuben are at it again. Based in Boston. Oh, pull me down. Reviewed recent billing information in several states, because billing information is obviously how you determine whether or not a reference was valid or not, right? Right? Am I right? Imagine how crazy that is. And found that African Americans with symptoms like cough and fever and African American was less likely to be given one of the scarce coronavirus tests. So there was a broad over here who had that same thing to go. She was white as snow, so she had was gonna have a test because she had to have her tits chopped off before all this, but she couldn't get the test and had to go to the chemo. So save me your story, Negro. It's like, you know, resource scarce, nigger. You understand? It's so hard sometimes. I know when you have a 70, 80 IQ, but right. Just that easy. And yes, before you say, I'm not going to be frightened, and I'm not a Jew or a materialist, you can't frighten me with death. Delays in diagnosis and treatment can be harmful, especially for racial or ethnic minority groups that have higher rates of certain diseases, aka are unhealthy, slovenly people who don't live very long. They're such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and kidney disease. I'll say, drink less malt liquor and do more. These chronic illnesses can lead to more severe cases of COVID-19. God wills it. Thank you, Lord. On the campus of Negro World College, a historical institution in Nashville, a historical black institution. I'm wondering, can I give me some historical white institutions? Maybe I'd take anything. I mean, I could just have the Nazi Regalia Club would be better than listening to this right now, which is sad, given that I mock them all day, but they're still better to listen to than this shit. Because this is crazy. Watch this. Drive-through testing tents sent empty for weeks. They sat empty for weeks. Well, I don't know. Are there any places where there are white folks where they didn't have enough stuff? Yes, there are. Several states out in the middle of nowhere. They have all white folks that, you know, they had lack of supplies too. But you don't hear them crying like fucking babies, do you? No, you don't. Why? Because they say to themselves, there aren't very many cases here. We have this contained, and these other places probably need the resources more than us. It's just they're able to understand this idea that, see, you don't have to have every place stocked up exactly like it's going to be, you understand how insane this is? That this is what they want? Because they want the Gibbs. They don't want equality with you, they want Gibbs. Now, for weeks, because the school couldn't acquire necessary equipment. Again, as though this must be the man's fault. The man is responsible because the black institution couldn't get their ass to buying stuff efficiently. How about kiss my ass, darky? Just that simple. Just go back to Africa, don't give a goddamn. There's no doubt that some institutions have the resources and clout to maybe get the materials faster and easier, or they bought them effectively, efficiently, and on time with a view to the future and didn't try to panic buy them right at the end. You're all racist, you bought it before me. How about that, huh? Yeah. Says Dr. Racist. You be a darkhead. Oh no, I'm a cracker. I'm all broke up. Again, I wouldn't go for this doctor's well, dude. That's simple. And yeah. Right. President of Law and infectious disease specialist. Well, don't see. So, he's a specialist in all these kinds of outbreaks. There's not much to be known about them. They just come and then they boom, right? So, do you think he should have known that he'd have need these supplies backed up? Do you think so? Did he? No? Now, how the hell is that your fault, guy? I'm just a random white guy who was at Walmart today. How the hell is that your fault? But you know what you're going to do? You're going to pay the bill when this motherfucker sues somebody and gets a court judgment against a public institution, and that goes bankrupt, and it has to be bailed out, then you know what I mean? There'd be you getting a fucking dick right up your ass because this guy's a whining punk and a stupid fuck who, like a lazy grasshopper, did not plan ahead effectively. But you got to suffer because it's racism, Imagine that. His medical school is located in the heart of Nashville, darkest Africa, where there were no screening centers until this week. Were there any cases? Does anybody know? See, this is the key factual information they want to leave out. You know what I mean? Also, too, let's go. No, up to just a little while ago, nobody had any idea what the hell was anything. It's like, you see, it's how crybaby this is. How they want to go on your memory gap, basically. They want you to just pretend everybody knew this was always there. But how could it have been unknown? You see, this is the logic is absolutely astounding. Most of the testing in the region took place at walk-in clinics managed by Vanderbilt University. And get this is just a knock out the chair astounding medical center. And those are primarily located in historical white areas like Bellamede and Brentwood, Tennessee. Is that supposed to fucking mean something to me? So you're going to tell me that these crybaby niggers could have walked their ass out, and I'll call them niggers all the way through this. If you don't like it, you can leave. Walked right up to, could have just walked their stupid nigger ass to a hospital and got tested if they thought they needed to? Yes. Oh, they didn't have convenience. Well, fuck you. How about fuck you? It's how easy to talk to us. The world don't accommodate to my crippled epileptic ass. So fuck off, chicaboo. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't ask most of you to. I wouldn't want you to. I guess the difference is I have some pride on these fucking low people. Most of the testing in the region took place at walk-in clinics. Now, this is great. Heritage says he observed no overt bias on the part of the healthcare workers and doesn't expect any. So nobody was racist, but it'd be racism and shit. Do they understand at some point that particularly white males are just going to be just like me at some point? I'm like this from being in prison with these dumb monkeys. You can't respect anything they say. Shut up. The fuck out of here. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter. High class Boone still be Boone. Now, he says the distribution of testing sites, the distribution of them, shows a disparity in access to medical care that has long persisted. Meaning nobody wants to work down in your crime-infested ghetto nigger fucking areas? No way. I wonder why. Oh, could it be the crack dealers, the prostitutes, and the random fucking gunfire? That's Christmas Day. Yeah, so. And then every other day it's just random gunfire. Martin Luther King Way in most cities is a fucking war zone. Ask any police detective, they'll tell you. Now, I've talked with several of them, No, I never gave them information, but I'm smart to be like, so, you've been down in the ghetto lately. I ask questions like this, counter questions. Never answer questions with answers, always answer with questions. And you're not evading. He says he prays he's wrong, which means he smells the ching-ching, ching-ching, ching-ching. This is how they are. But if anybody should be prioritized, notice this white guy. It's minority communities. All the other people but the white people should be prioritized, because fuck you, it'd be racism. Put your head around that Olympics. That is some Olympic level mental gymnastics there. I ain't even gonna bother. But I won't run the obstacle course, Negro. Okay, just don't care. Law says, I'll show you how you deal with that. Problem solved. Let's see. We cannot afford to not have the resources to be distributed where they need to be. But do they need to be there? You see, notice this. He's treating them just like he would a government check, like Gibbs, not like medical resources. Otherwise, the virus would do great harm in some communities and less in others. It's going to do great harm in older people at any rate. And that's just the way it is. And your point? So cool. In Memphis, a heat map shows where coronavirus testing is taking place. It reveals that most screening, it doesn't say where the actual screening is taking place. It says percentage of people screening, notice, is happening in the predominantly white and well-off neighborhoods. You mean they listened to the stuff on TV and went and got checked to see whether or not they had a thing when they had the symptoms? Wow. As compared to ghetto niggers, which will stay home and not? You kidding me? Crazy. Why would there be more testing from one place than the other? Could I agree with the culture? It happens to be racism. Now, not the majority black, lower income neighborhoods. You know, again, the Martin Luther King ways of the world. I mean, why would such a place be dismal? Why would there be more death and disease down there? Hard to say with all the crack addicts and such. Reverend Earl Fisher, this is going to be a real winner here, has been warning his African American congregation. Warning. More like riling them up like orcs of Mordor. The response to the pandemic may fall along the city's usual divides, meaning be ready to pillage and get your Gibbs. Give me my Gibbs. He says he prays he's wrong. No, he's not. He's again angling so his ass can be like, aha, and get some monies. If anything else, he'll get the money from the sucker humanitarian liberals. I think we're about to witness an inequitable distribution of the medical resources too. What you mean to say is that black people will be fat, lazy motherfuckers and they're going to die off at a higher rate than whites. Particularly cracker worker whites who will live much better, even though they have way lower socioeconomic baselines than even urban blacks. Because that's right. Yeah, I just right your face. It's easy, isn't it? Okay, let's see. Around the nation, concentrated pockets are popping up. In Memphis, African Americans make up all the city's first 8 fatalities. I just can't tell you how busted up inside I am about that. What, 8 less people to call me a fucking racist? Great. Good. Yeah. Wisconsin Governor Terry Evers says he wants to know why black communities seem to be hit so hard. Why? Why do we lose these future scholars? It's a crisis within a crisis. Truly, a riddle within an enigma. Enigma within a puzzle. Ever said in a video statement, can you imagine this being this much of a pussy? I would have said, looks like crime went down for at least a block. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention is also on the ground. Well, they're on the ground. I mean, I feel reassured that they're dumbass there, because they've done an awful lot. But, that's right, locusts all up like prison bitches. Right. As well as several other hotspots looking into the outbreak in black neighborhoods. Notice they can move around, just not you. Yeah. Nationwide, it's difficult to know how minority populations are faring because, don't get this, the CDC isn't reporting any data on race. Aren't these the people who wanted colorblind statistical models that couldn't be used to locate minority populations? Flip, flip, flip. Now they don't report on race. Well, why aren't you reporting that? You're hiding something. But when they do report on race, like crime statistics, oh shit, that's racism itself. Few states are releasing more demographic data, but it's incomplete. They're hiding something, you know. Virginia is reporting race, yet the state's report is missing that information for 2/3 of confirmed cases. Who cares? Again, what I have to say is less ghetto niggers is the best number of them. 0 is the absolutely best number to have of them. Yeah. I see no advantage in having any darkies here at all. Thank you. See, there it is. A few states, Dr. George Benjamin of the American Public Health Association. Probably some communist operation that's there to ensure that generally left-wing causes get their way in the courts and media. Kind of like a clearinghouse of left-wing medical bullshit. How about that? That's pushing health officials to start monitoring race and income. You never can spot a communist like that, can you? In response to COVID-19, because COVID-19 isn't discriminatory. But who says it's not? How would you know this if it's a novel virus? Mystery of mysteries. It's all an enigma, no wonder, you know. We want people to collect the data in an organized, professional, scientific manner, i.e., he wants those hit pieces and he wants them in order so he can crack them down by the numbers, baby. And show who's getting it and who's not getting it. And notice he assumes exactly what he wants. Benjamin says, recognize that we very well may see. That's some bureaucratic jargon for this is coming. Okay? Yeah. Until he's convinced otherwise. Benjamin says he assumes the usual disparities are at play. Nigger, I don't give a shit what you assume. Get your fucking ass the fuck back to the field and pick cotton. I just don't care. Didn't care yesterday, and I care even less after this 30-day lockdown with your fucking ass in Prison House America. Because this is exactly how I'd tell a nigger in prison to shut up. Just like that. No, until he's... experience has taught us that if you're poor, if you're of color, you're going to get services second. No, experience has taught me to take you into the hospital based upon a triage system that is, will you die sitting here before this person? Yes or no? That's exactly how they do it. There's nothing to do with anything else, so fuck off. The subjectivity of symptoms is what worries Dr. Ebony Hilton. Yeah, Ebony Hilton. Oh, I wonder, is she one of those Heimbrights? It's funny, it's like, you do know your score morphology more resembles a white person's, which is why your IQ is more in the nature of a white person's than you do realize just that, right, darling? Anyhow, it'd be too long and difficult to explain physical anthropology, which is an actual science to you. I suppose we'll have to learn voodoo, which is what I'm listening to here about racism, right? The person comes in, they're complaining of chest pain. They're complaining of shortness of breath. They have a cough. I can't quantify that. Well, yes, you can. See, you put a little stethoscope thing on your chest and they say, does it sound gurgly? No, there's no watery sound in there. Okay, hold on a second. Are your lungs really sore? This area back in here, does it feel generally sore, all that tissue back there, the muscles, the bone, and that, from coughing, hacking? Yes or no? You look at your chest sore. When you cough, do you get a radiating pain? Yes, no. See, all that, I just did it just as good as anybody could before the modern era. Imagine that, you dumb Negro. Do you think we're stupid, or are you that stupid? Again, I use just this run list. This is what my ancestors did up in the hills. You didn't die much more than that. Again, they're not... Listen, you die of old age. At some point, if you have pneumonia enough times and you're old, you'll die of one of the diseases during winter. There it is. Or early spring. That's it. If you can't hang with that, you're a pussy. And yes, you have to just accept, yes, you do. That's exactly the way it is, so shut the fuck up. Hilton is an anesthesiologist at the University of Virginia Medical Center who has long been raising concerns. Read a yak mouth that intends to make herself popular, probably try to get some sort of political career, and is looking to more or less stick it to the whites so that she can get more gibs for herself. She sees problems across the board, from the way social media is being used. She means the way white people can talk to each other as a primary way of educating the public. Educating the public? What the fuck are we, children in a school? You notice this? And how quickly drive-through testing has expanded. Now get this. The first requires internet connection. It's not my fault that these ghetto niggers couldn't afford the few dollars a month, and they chose to spend that on other things, which they don't need for their rent, because in subsidized housing down there, they're paying less than $50 a month in some cases. Kiss my ass. The second is a car. Again, are you going to tell me if you walked up to one of these places, they wouldn't test you? The contact's exactly the same. Anyone who says this is lying. You know what I mean? I think this is Negroes playing word games so they can try to get some sympathy money, trying to play fiddler. But don't you know? There's only one fiddler, the Jew. And they already want troops in New York to defend them, Negro. You're asked out. So, and now get this final line. Here's your parting line. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready for this little parting line, this little farewell gift? If you don't get a test, if you die, you're not going to be listed as dying for COVID. You're just going to be dead. Well, hold on a second. That got me to thinking, well, how do they know this COVID killed these people? Were there autopsies? Very few. Almost all of them in that one city, where there about 111 it was, I think it's Chicago, they're just stacked up. They, only one medical examiner. What can you do? So you're like, that's not... This is just hysteria, Fucking Negro nonsense, You get used to their nonsense after a while, but, and then you just think to yourself, kid, you're crazy, Because, frankly, kids, what do you do? What do you do with these kinds of... Because remember, this is exactly the sort of dumb motherfucker, low IQ Negro that gets your ass killed. They go Debo and act like they're fucking doing some useful shit. Now, do you know? No. Now listen to this. Are you ready for this last kicker? This is the last kicker of the news articles that I got for you today. Because, I mean, I had to put the funny niggers there in the middle. Oh, yeah, I laugh at them. I call them niggers. I refuse to play their word games. I never accepted that fucking shit. Take your country club GOP suck poop, dick sucker, low-ass prison punk mentality back to slave talk world. Here, dumb niggers that make shit about how viruses are fucking racist can get called dumb niggers for acting like dumb niggers. You don't want to be called a dumb nigger. You know what you do? You don't act like a dumb nigger. You know, it's kind of funny. I'll just go out of my way to go nigger at people. But boy, that lady was a dumb nigger. If you can't hang with the word, it's because, ooh, you've been conditioned to be a pussy. Because they say that word at least 50 times every hour in prison. You'll hear, nigger, 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 nig, nig, nigger, nigger, nigger. And I refuse, if I'm going to live in prison house America, to act like it isn't that way in prison house America, because it sure as fuck is. So suck my fucking dick, because I'm not playing with you pussy GOP country club faggots anymore. Don't have to. Don't give a shit about your rules. Don't care about your system. Don't care about your procedures. That's all coming to a fucking screeching halt because Mother Nature called and she said, fuck you. Okay? Precision Scientific Panel told the White House Wednesday that the research shows coronavirus can be spread not just by coughs, but by talking or possibly just breathing. If they're alive and they have it, they're a threat. Now, do you see? Well, see that? Do you notice it? Do you know? This is how they're going to make you take an inoculation against it. Watch this. While the current specific research is limited. Really? You mean they're making sweeping statements on limited research? Oh, that's called propaganda. The results of available studies are consistent with aerosolization of virus from normal breathing, meaning you can make each other sick. According to a letter written by Dr. Hyvie Feinberg. You notice there's a lot of Bergsies and Witzes and Fishers and Fines. Does anybody ever notice this? No. Chairman of the Committee of the National Academy of Sciences, which means Platonic philosopher from on high, who doesn't know shit and just wants to run your life like you're a ghetto Jew. Right. Feinberg told CNN that he will start wearing a mask when he goes to the grocery store. I don't care what he does. The fact is, if that worked, we would have that off the top, but it doesn't. And so this is inefficient, you know. So what they're trying to do is depersonalize us all so that they can easily itemize us. You know what I mean? Like say, you. What? And the excuse will be, of course, to have some disease, but that's irrelevant. This is the perfect way to stamp out political dissent. China to begin reporting asymptomatic coronavirus cases in its daily tally. Okay, who cares? You know what I mean? I mean, here's just as base as I can see it. I don't give a goddamn. The Chinese self-gold themselves, then lied to the rest of us. Now our media's going along with it, and all of these WHO people may as well be employed by the fucking Chinese. Let's see, I'm not going to wear a surgical mask because clinicians need those, so don't wear anything that would actually be effective now. No, just wear cloth and shit. Said Feinberg, former dean of the Harvard School of Public Health. But I have a nice Western-style bandana, you know, because this will save you from coronavirus. No, it will not. No, it will not. But you know what it will do is it'll encourage fucking reckless behavior in the streets and atomization of people into individual little onesie, non-personalized, units. Don't expect that when that happens. People are going to fall into large formations, and right-wing people have been depersonalized this are going to fall back onto violence, not passivity. Leftists just don't understand the calculation here at all, you know. I mean, sure, the country club GOP is going to fold over. They're prison bitches. But the rest of us aren't going to. Shit. Do come to my house. I don't give a fuck. It's the end of your system. Understand that shit. This is just simple. By the time you have to keep us locked down several months every year, your system will have broke down into violence. It's already starting to now. Oh, see, he has a balaclava, you know. I have some pretty nice options. In other words, he has no real options that are worth a shit. Because what's this? Yeah, so A key member of the White House coronavirus said that the idea of recommending broad use of masks to spread the coronavirus is very active. But of course, which he means proper surgical masks, not bandanas. Bandanas are a feel-good measure for peasants that they're leaving assed out. Following Feinberg, chair of the NSA Standing Committee on Emergency Infectious Diseases and 21st Century Health Threats, a.k.a. the guy that's going to let you die, said his letter was sent Wednesday evening in response to a query from Kevrel Dromeyer with the Office of Science and Technology Policy at the White House. Well, that just makes it like, who cares? I mean, it's like, this just shows to me more the obvious inbreeding between bureaucracy, these think tanks, and the government. You know what I'm saying? No, there it sits, really, right? And then truly between the media, these bureaucracies, and then the courts, we can toss into them. Oh, I could go for a minute here. But this letter responds to your question concerning the possibility that coronavirus could be spread by conversation. What does this? It continues. Now, this gets good. This is the best bit. How far can it go, you wonder? You say to yourself, what's the distance this stuff could travel, yeah? Are you ready? So they tell you 6 feet, yeah? USA Today, for a long time, they did finally take it down sometime in the early morning. I looked at it like 2 last night. They said 27 feet for days now. The virus spreads to person and people only within about 6 feet of each other. Ooh, now what's this? Feinberg said this is true, but that research shows that aerosols, droplets, that stuff that just comes out your mouth, or just breathing can also spread the virus, and that can move. It moves in the air. It's called the Browning effect. I know it's crazy. The Coriolis effect and the Browning effect. Ooh, the Browning effect is just the random movement of particles, and the Coriolis effect is the general wind patterns caused by the spinning of the Earth around the axis of the Sun and the drag of the Moon and so forth. It doesn't make a difference, but it's easy. Flat Earth people, it's beyond them, but yeah, they're dim. That's why they reduce everything to ball science, right? So let's see. His letter explains that research at a hospital in China, because that's a place I'd fucking trust, the Chinese. You know, the place with the riots and what can only, in the darknet, those look to be death squads. They all look at me, you know. They're running around looking for people to pop because they don't have the things to take care of them. They can't let them live with their typhoid Mary. What can you do? The Chinese are hard-minded like this. Westerners don't have the moxie to get her done. They're pussies. And then they have these Feinbergs of the world sniveling in their face constantly to do feel-good bullshit that wouldn't save your ass to hope of nothing. Research by the University of Nebraska shows that genetic material from the virus was found in patients' rooms more than 6 feet from the patients. Because obviously the patients are the only way it could have happened. It couldn't have been onto somebody's clothes, brushed. No. So everyone needs to be as far away from everyone as possible. Now what's this? Feinberg said it's possible that the droplets can hang in the air and potentially infect someone who walks by later. Watch out where you breathe, fellas, because if you breathe, it's now a bioweapon. Imagine this kind of fucking craziness. And the Feinbergs of the world do have this. They actually have jumped the shark, and I'll get to that one after this one. With people are breathing on Jews to make them sick, which is just like, you know, did you just steal all the air with your nose? I mean, I thought that was a fucking internet meme, for Christ's sakes. Right? He added, however, that coronavirus is not as infectious as measles or tuberculosis. And yet, we all have to lock down even though measles and tuberculosis are regular. And tuberculosis is pretty fatal if let go. Especially the disease, antibiotics resistant stuff. How long coronavirus lingers in the air depends on several factors. Including the amount, how much virus an infected individual puts out when breathing or talking, and including the amount of UV in the air, like sunlight, you know. If you generate aerosol of the virus with no circulation room, it's very conceivable if you walk later, you can inhale the virus. Yeah, okay. But if you're outside, the breeze will likely disperse it. You mean fresh air and sunlight are good health and medicine? Wow. I know. So notice they want you locked away in the dark. And they just told you that if you're out in someplace breezy, which is usually going to have sunlight, that you have less chance of contacting the stuff. You understand? No. And if you think this is going to save your life, you're a fucking dumb peasant fool. I'll laugh right at that doctor's face and call him a liar. Rumpelstiltskin, Rumpelstiltskin, Rumpelstiltskin. This is a power grab. And the next time, by the way, we're going to start the top off with Rumpelstiltskin. Then we're going to go into crazy antics along the lines of, well, one, they want to have New York City ghettoized, and two, they want to be given the right to colonize Poland. Yes, you've heard me say this. 4 pages of notes, half hour of watching. It's every insane thing I've ever watched. It's knock me over the feather about every 8 seconds all the way through. But so we'll do that one later, probably, I don't know, sometime tonight, maybe in tomorrow. That's how I feel, really. Y'all take care, okay? Stay safe, and look, be reasonably care against disease, but fear is only, it only makes you stupid, you know. Be cautious, but don't be dumb. Don't let these people, every little word, oh no, they said, get out a book of synonyms and pick Reagan. What's the least radical word this means? That's the one they mean for themselves. And look at the most radical word, and that's the one they mean for you. Tick-tock, tick-tock. This is all about keeping people off edge so they can bring in a savior. We found the solution, look. Controlled instability, constructive chaos. Have a nice day. God bless.